Once upon a time, my husband and I moved into an old farmhouse in which lived many a mouse. We soon became prolific mouse trappers. Until one day in the kitchen I heard noise coming from my spice drawer. I opened it to be faced with a pair of black beady eyes staring at me. The varmint was caught by a hind leg in its tail, not by its head, and it should have been dead. I reached in and removed the thing with the varmint in it, and I walked towards the bathroom, fully intending to flush the thing down the toilet, when I saw the thing frantically chewing at its leg to free itself. I couldn't do it. I came back to the kitchen, paced around for a while, and I saw the garbage. I took the lid off, I took the garbage bag out of the can, bent over, and at the very bottom, I carefully released the thing. I also put food and water and some Kleenex and I put the lid back on. Later that day, my husband came back from work. I greeted him at the door. I said, "Hans, come to the kitchen. I've got something to show you." I lifted the lid. He looked at me. He said, "What are you planning to do with that?" I said, "We'll keep it." He said, "You should have flushed it down the toilet." I said, "I know, I couldn't." And we're keeping it, and that's all I've got to say about it. And keeping it, we did. It eventually lost its hind left leg and half of its tail. It also acquired a name, Billy, the little deer mouse. But he wasn't very dear. I fed him every day. I made sure he had water, and every week I cleaned his cage. And every week he bit me. This went on for months. Until one day, as I cleaned his cage, Billy escaped. I screamed, "Hans, Hans, come and help me!" Billy escaped. Hans came running to the kitchen. We chased Billy around the floor. Billy ran under the fridge. We pulled the fridge away from the wall, only to see Billy disappear in a crack in the floor. Billy was gone. What to do? We removed all the traps from the house and refrained from any trapping activities for a good 2 weeks until we realized that we really had to start trapping again. It was quite obvious. After that, when we trapped a mouse, if it was all brown, no big deal. It was a common house mouse, not Billy. If it was a deer mouse like Billy, we quickly counted the legs. 4 legs, it's not Billy. Weeks went by until I needed to go to Montreal for a weekend. I came back the Sunday afternoon. Hans greeted me at the door. He said, "Mariele, come with me. I've got something to show you." I turned around the corner, and on the sideboard, there was Billy in his cage. I said, "No way! How did you get him back?" He said, "You won't believe this. I came to make coffee this morning, and I heard noise coming from the drawer under the oven. I opened the drawer, and there was a deer mouse in there. I looked, 3 legs, short tail. It was Billy for sure, but it should have been dead. The bar was right over his head. So I picked him up and I checked him out closely. He was alive all right, but the trap was defective. So Billy was back. And I was happy, and I think Billy was happy too. He was different, he was calmer, and for one thing, he stopped biting me. With the new attitude came a new level of freedom. We even taught him tricks. Billy learned to come into my hand, on my shoulder, and even on top of my head. But his very favorite place was riding in Hans's shirt pocket, where Hans kept peanuts. Billy had become part of our family, so much so that at Christmas we even had gifts under the Christmas tree for Billy. One Christmas we noticed that Billy was having difficulty eating his peanuts. We checked him out closely to see that he had a lump on the side of his face. The lump became a growth that pushed his teeth completely out of alignment. Billy was no longer able to eat the peanuts he loved. We replaced the peanuts with peanut butter, the apples with applesauce. Time went on. One morning, I came in the kitchen. Billy was not in his usual spot, waiting to be let out of his cage. I knocked on his boot. Nothing. I removed the Kleenex. Billy had passed away in his sleep. I improvised a coffin out of an empty tuna can. I lined it with Kleenex. I placed Billy with a peanut between his front paws in the tuna can. Later that day, in the barnyard, we held a funeral for Billy, the little deer mouse with 9 lives. Thank you.